It is September 18th. I'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good.
Nice to see everybody on this cheery, dreary day.
Mr. Chair, that's because Commissioner Burrell brought in donuts and they had bacon on them.
Oh, that would make sense. Well, that way he gets his full, he gets eggs and bacons that way
That's right.
in his rolls. All right. County Board minutes of September 11th, 2018.
Mr. Chair, I do have one correction on those. On page 1, I believe it is, 7/8 of the way down, the public hearing was scheduled for 9:30 on 10/16. We have it in the minutes incorrectly at 10:30. Second to last paragraph, that would be.
There we go, yep, 9:30. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I have a correction also.
okay.
On page 3, it's third of the way down, the page right before Fairgrounds paving, where it said, Houston said they have in the meeting last week included DNR, Annandale Police, and Sportsman is actually, and stakeholders. And I don't know if I referred to, we also have the sheriff's office there, but their sportsmen were not at that, but they'd be included. Right here. Would be,
On the very last line?
yep, stakeholder instead of sportsmen. Sportsmen were not at the meeting, but the county attorney's office was, and so were sheriff's personnel. And I may not have mentioned everyone, but
Okay,
I wanted to
sportsmen and-
clarify sportsmen were not there.
But stakeholders instead?
Stakeholders, yep.
With those corrections, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Houston. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Agenda. Does anybody have anything to add?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chair, but just a correction that at the bottom of the agenda, we had a committee of the whole for budget listed. The time of that meeting is at 10:30 today, not 8:30 as it was listed.
Yeah, I was looking at things and, whoops, I'm late.
Okay.
It
All right.
was a very short meeting.
Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Potter. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like to remove for further discussions?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Mr. Adam Tagaro.
Good morning,
And
Mr.
company.
Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. This morning I have the pleasure of introducing not one, but two
Yay.
new IT staff. So you're not just seeing double, it's actually true. We've got two. So the first individual I'd like to introduce is Joshua Fox. He is our new senior systems engineer, replaced Brian's position. And Josh comes to us from the finance industry with a wide depth of knowledge on VMware and NetApp, some of our current technologies that we're using. So Josh, I want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners.
Morning.
Joshua Fox. I live in Hanover with my wife and my 15-month-old child, Fulton. Been in the IT industry for like 17 years, and mostly in the financial sector. So I look for a lot of depth I have in VMware and virtual infrastructure and data management. So hope to bring a lot of knowledge to the district. So.
Welcome aboard.
Great, welcome.
Welcome.
And next, I'd like to introduce Jesus Castillo. He is our new Senior Tech Support Specialist, who is coming to us from the U of M Extension specifically, and well, not just Extension, maybe coming up.
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Board. I came from the University of Minnesota, 10 years in Extension, 2 years in the Electrical and Computing Engineering College. I've been in IT for about 20 years. I've done everything from managing to infrastructure to network. So I'm here to apply that knowledge to the county, and I'm very excited by the way the department is going and the way it's growing.
Yeah.
And I'm also a Monticello native. And
Okay, so neither one of you guys have much of a commute. That's a good thing.
Yes,
And you're in the county, that's great.
I traded in an hour-and-a-half commute to work here, so
Oh.
very, very happy.
Yeah.
What did Adam pay you to say some of that stuff?
We're still working that out.
To be determined.
To be determined.
It's a requirement.
Yeah, the facial hair thing, yeah.
All right, well, welcome both of you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Glad that you live in the right county and now you get to work in the right county.
Yep,
None of that traveling anymore.
yep.
Thank you, Board.
Welcome, looking forward to lots of good things coming from you.
Thank you.
Mr. Greg Picard.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, board members. Okay, so this is my annual, here's our new grant for this year. So just an update on last year's grant. So it's completely closed out. We tripled from the previous year, from 2017 grant. We tripled the number of phone calls and walk-ins to our office this year. So the word's getting out, businesses, the veterans, more and more veterans are coming in every day. The assistant that you allowed me to hire is really fitting in well, so we're growing, which is where we want to be. We want to get our veterans in and get them service. All the dollars this past year for the previous grant were expended. We don't owe the state anything back. I spent all $15,000 on veteran service program. So
Is the new one the same amount then?
it's the same amount. It's based on our population, and that they break it up by sector. So our sector, we're kind of right in the middle of that $15,000 grant. We'd have to add another probably 3,000 veterans to our
Oh, really?
goals to get up to the next $2,500 they would give us, right? So we're approaching half of our files scanned. We're getting close to the 8,000 number. So
Thank you, that was the question I was going to ask.
right. So we have added a few. So we're now at total 17,379. So we've added a couple hundred records this past year. So new veterans coming in that we didn't have anything on. So my hat's off. Adam left, but I wanted to give a shout out to Adam's team. Connie May and the rest of the IT, they came up with a way to help us speed up our scanning to where we don't have to take that paper, scan it in, print it out, scan it in, save it off, then try to put it into VIMS. They found a way so we can just scan it in directly to VIMS. So that should help, not a big improvement, but that's going to save us a couple minutes per
Little here, little
scan.
there helps, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was that'll be a big help once we get it. I think it's supposed to go live in October. So, but really a big shout out for Adam's team for helping us do that.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg, how much longer before we have all the veterans digitized?
Well, what are you guys doing this afternoon?
Looking at another couple
We're
years.
expecting, I'm
That?
hoping by the end,
Oh, I know.
Okay.
the end of, for sure, 2020, they'll all be gone.
2020, a good
Right.
goal, good sight.
So
That's
we're
reasonable.
doing about a cabinet a month. We start out with about 36 cabinets, so it's going. So with the cabinets we moved out, obviously hiring an assistant, I moved Debbie made an office back in the corner where we had gotten rid of some of the cabinets that allowed us to do that. We didn't have to do any wall construction or anything like that.
Looks nice, and thank you for saving us money.
Yeah. So, but we're getting there. Like I said, we're almost halfway. We've got one row gone, starting on the next row. We've got a few cabinets ready to go, and then we have about 2 rows of cabinets left. But
What are you gonna do with all that extra room?
we have plenty of other cabinets for our regular
Serve
stuff.
veterans.
Serve veterans, absolutely. So,
Great.
so for the new grant, same deal as before. We get, $15,000 for the year that we have to spend on veteran services, not to supplant any county funding or whatever. It's going to change up a little bit because I've added the assistant, so more is going to be spent on training and outreach and things like that. We'll be able to get out and do more events and stuff like that, but I fully expect we're going to spend the $15,000 again this year, no problem. Any questions?
Keep up the great work.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Chair, I'll
it's-
make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing Mr. Picard to enter into the grant contract with the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. It's a resolution. Is there any other discussions? Commissioner Burrell? Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Greg.
much, Greg.
Instead of Bob Hevelow, we have Tammy.
Are stuck with me. Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
Chair and members of the board. I've got a number of items for you. This, I think there was maybe a glitch or something with getting this into the board packet or something. It's the first item on the agenda.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I kept trying to find stuff, and I wasn't having any luck.
All right, so the first item on the agenda is to authorize the purchase of elections equipment from No Inc. What this is we had the poll pads that we have been working with now for the last couple of elections, with the township election in March and then the primary. There are wireless internet pucks that we needed for these poll pads, and there were two different sizes. We ended up just getting a handful of the larger ones, and the majority of them were the smaller ones. We found with the primary election that we needed to upgrade these, and we struggled, as the request for board action states, that there was some internet connectivity issues and that they just weren't strong enough to handle the multiple poll pads at these locations. So we can submit back the smaller pucks back to No Inc., get a credit for those, and then we're going to purchase all large ones instead.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the purchasing of the returning and the purchasing of new Wi-Fi pucks for the primary elections and just the elections in general.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Potter. Is there any other discussions, questions?
How long will it take to get these, Tammy?
Yeah, we would have them for the November election.
No problem.
Sure, no issues there. So I don't know there's an estimate on the second page there. I don't know, so that was requested about a week or so ago. This estimate was, so yeah, I don't think they'll take very long to get, but.
What did those Verizon Novotels cost us up front? I see we're getting $150 each for them, just curious.
Yeah, looking at this, assuming that that's the smaller ones cost us the 150 each individual one, these new ones are gonna cost $475. Matt, maybe you can speak with that.
So they're giving us full credit then?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're giving us full credit back for them.
Oh, great.
Good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You'd expect.
Great.
That's
All right.
different.
Yeah, really. But, if they told us that they would work,
Yeah.
then they should.
And you don't know what you don't know until you try it.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
The next item on the agenda is a Triman contract ratification. So the contract that exists with MCCC and Triman ends this year, and so there is a new 3-year contract that is asked to be ratified. I'm not sure if you have any questions on that at all.
Questions on this system?
No.
And Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Triman.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
With that as well is rules and reg, I believe that the IFS committee updated their rules and regs. I believe all that's needed is just the board to note that these have gone through and that you guys approve, a motion is made approving these new rules and regs. These are rules and regs that are, MCCC works with the committee themselves.
You need a separate motion to accept the rules and regulations?
I believe so, correct. I
I'll
think
make a
that we just
motion
need to submit then.
to accept the, I don't know if they're modifications or just the rules and regulations for Tri-Min, whatever you want to call it.
MCCC.
MCCC.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Easier just to call it, I see why you put Tri-Min on there versus the MNCCC.
Yes. So MCCC, yes, yes.
And MCCC.
And so next on the agenda, sorry, I've got a whole shopping cart of stuff here, is the adopting a resolution authorizing the public sale of tax forfeit properties on Thursday, October 25th, 2018, at 1 in the afternoon here in the boardroom. Included in your packet should be a list of the properties. We have 5 that are going to be on the sale. There are a couple of previous ones that have been for sale previously, and then some new ones as well.
Mr. Chair, Tammy, that's previous properties that did not sell last time.
Correct. Yep. And so we took a look at all of these, obviously, and retook a look at some of them, some of the old ones, potentially changed the minimum bid price, depending on the situation. And, yeah.
I have one question. Second one from the bottom, in Corinna Township. And not that it's Burrell's first edition, that doesn't concern me at all. I'm just kind of curious why we have a 2019 value of $10,400 and a minimum bid price of $20,000.
I have to refresh my memory on these. Do you remember?
Yeah, there's the other,
We usually rely on, a recommendation from the assessor.
Yeah, but I mean, if we have a value of 10.4 and we're trying to sell it for 20, something doesn't seem right. Unless we've been undervaluing it for so long. It's in Corinna Township,
That might be the case though, Mr. Chair, because it's an outlot and some of those outlots, they just didn't put very much of a value on it. And maybe after further looking at it, said, well, it's
Mr.
worth
Chair?
something.
yeah,
I believe
because,
this might be similar to another one that sold for, in that same neighborhood, just not very far away. That same outlot, if these are the ones I'm thinking of, just behind the lake. Because I believe one of them last year did sell for a lot more than what we had the value on it, and that the assessors were relooking at all those because of that anomaly. Because, the state wants us to be close to true market value.
but, on the other hand, Mr. Chair, the property in Stockholm Township has a much larger value than the minimum bid they're looking
Yeah.
at, so there must be a reason it's,
And Mr.
Sold
Chair, I'm wondering
as
if the
in-
Stockholm one is the Kingdom of God, that's that property.
okay,
And there might be more issues there than meets the eye.
Correct, that is that property.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Anyway, I was just kind of curious on that one, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up here at least quickly to refresh my memory on our GIS to see what this property looked like, or which property this is.
No, that's fine, I just had a question on it, it just seems strange, that's all.
I can't, so this is just right off the lake, I don't know, Brian, if you remember, this is that one that's off the lake there to the east.
Yeah,
Before we publish.
yeah, I just, like I said, kind of unusual. All right,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the public sale of tax forfeit properties on Thursday, July 25th, 2018 at 1 o'clock.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussion? Hearing none, resolution? Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous.
Okay. Next on the agenda is to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of abandoned property on tax forfeiture parcel. One of the tax forfeiture parcels that are scheduled for sale. I do have a GIS picture. Does that just get turned on?
Hasn't changed yet, okay.
There's not much to see on it, but it's this piece in blue. And so we typically do these for those properties that there, is abandoned property on. We will have a sale on the personal property.
What's all on there? Vehicles and,
Bob and I have not been out there yet at this point, so what we see on Beacon is what we're hoping that there's nothing new. This is a more recent picture from the GIS. So, I think did you drive by there, right?
Mr. Chair, I drove by, the property looks, according to the sheriff's office, they went out to do service. They said it looks like no one's lived in it for a number of years, but that there's furniture, junk in the property. I don't know about vehicles, but it's so overgrown that when you drive by, you really don't see the structure itself unless you slow way down or stop. So chances are it's stuff that we'll have to either clean up ourselves or require the buyer to clean up. I don't think there's anything of great value, but we do have to take this step saying that we're going to seize the personal property and then sell it, or dispose of it.
this the property in Stockholm?
This one is in
Otsego.
Otsego. So it's just south of, there's a roundabout, there's a new roundabout just north of this on, is it South
137,
38?
it looks like.
County Road 38, yes.
Yeah, County Road 38.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the sale of abandoned property on tax forfeit parcel scheduled for sale, PID 118-500-332-304.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Potter. Is there any other questions? No. Hearing none, Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous. Now, I see there's another resolution regarding, so this must be for the other property then.
Nope.
That was it. Revenue.
No, sorry, I have one more thing on the agenda. Sorry, that's what you were doing.
Well, no, we've got adopt resolution to authorize sale of abandoned property, tax forfeiture. Resolution authorizing sale of abandoned property.
Oh, that's a mess up down below, but up top here from the agenda items, there's attachments, there's 2 attachments.
You just have an extra.
Yep, I
This
agree.
is one,
Attachment
this
is
is
the
one
board
item.
action request, the second is the actual resolution.
Okay. All right, just confused,
Yep,
that's all.
nope, we just have the one property that we've got this on. And so then the last item that I have is to approve the August budget report.
Did that get emailed to us?
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, we approve the August budget report.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
And I will be posting that on the website, should be sometime this week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hit the lights and,
Oh, you beat me to it.
You had too many donuts with bacon in it.
That's what it was, slowed me down. Lost my aerodynamics.
personnel.
Went through fast enough.
Commissioner Houston.
All right. The Personnel Employee Relations Committee met on September 10th, 2018. Members present, Delighten Hewsome, Sean Johnson, Jamie Goodwin Schwartz, Michelle Miller, Jim Odell, Tim Dahl, Kim Johnson, Rochelle Kramer, Sherry Nelson, and Lori Pollock. So we had a nice representation from, admin, human resources, and IT, and commissioners, and human services. So the issue was the Health and Human Services Teleworks pilot program and the future viability of the program. Jamie Goodwin Schwartz, the Human Services Director, provided the committee members with an overview of the Teleworks pilot program that was begun in May. And her request was to move the telework program from a pilot program into a permanent program that would be adopted by the county as a whole. And Sean Johnson, Human Resources Director, agreed and commented the admin department will consider other departments that may benefit from telework and will work with them as well. It's not for every individual, it's not for every department. Goodwin Schwartz said there's 12 employees that participated and it's been very successful. She added their monitoring and aware of some of the challenges, but they work them out basically when they occur. And they've been very selective in who has entered this program. And we also had you can look at some of the success stories, the caseload management. With Min Choice as the initial assessment completed up to 30% more quickly. The initial case processing time was cut by 40%. Reassessment case processing is now on time or within 5 days of the due date. Prior to telework, they're up to 30 days past the due date. The DD child case manager, that's disabilities, is managing a caseload of 59 cases, which is a 15% increase from the recommended 50. And child support has increased their teleworker caseload by 10% without impacting the quality of work. Financial assistance has experienced a 15% in caseload per teleworker. So overall productivity requests to adjust schedules decreased by 50% from the previous 3 months, and financial assistant developed a job aid to increase efficiency. Performance remained the same. Child support collections have not decreased. There we go. And availability of telework staff has not resulted in any complaints. They receive better, faster services. The technical benefit is the virtual printing into OnBase, and coverage has been handled well. Collaboration between staff members has, within and across the units, gives teleworkers a sense of belonging to their own unit and new small group, and job satisfaction improved. So anyway, you can kind of go through some of the July pilot report about what's working well. The challenges essentially were printing the Min Choices, and Department of Health of Human Services is aware of this issue, and also printing from, and I can't remember what SMI would stand for. Do you remember?
No, I can't either.
And access to Compass to create forms. So there's some issues, but they've been really working well with the IT and to get some of these things taken care of. So the people, the positions that are participated in this pilot program, 12 employees, there's 6 social workers, 4 child support officers, or that includes the 4 child support officers, 2 financial workers, there's 5 developmental disability Min Choice staff members, and 1 public health nurse. They also add they've seen technology benefits with the release of Office 365, Skype, enhanced communication, and the ability to use more virtual printing using OnBase. And Commissioner Delyden asked what they're seeing for the future, and Goodwin Schwartz said that they've had conversations with the BKV group and their staff of 240 Health and Human Services employees. They'd like to see a maximum of 12 employees per year move to the telework program. So their goal is to have 48 telework participants, so it'd be over a more 3-year period going forward. And she reported the next rollout would be near the middle of 2019, but I believe that it was actually in the first quarter of 2019 is that what we had said in the meeting. And also, no employees that are currently participating in the telework pilot program have reported any issues, and they really are really appreciate that. I talked to one of the teleworkers, and she absolutely loves the, her new place.
Yeah, one of them even said that if we make them come back, she's
Yeah.
not coming back.
Yeah, she's not going to come back. So, anyway, and we asked the Technologies Department opinion regarding the telework. Sherry Nelson, IT manager, said it's going quite smoothly and deployment went well. She added that the size was manageable, and keeping that at about 12 people per rollout is about the right number to make sure that everything is working correctly. And they asked about purchasing chairs, and the telework members, according to Tim Dahl, risk manager, that the members have all been responsive and participated, or they purchased the necessary chairs, and they didn't have any workman's comp claims to report. And Human Resources Director Johnson complimented the teamwork in all the departments working together to really make this a success. IT Manager Melson said they're modernizing the phone systems with new components, which will be first step in improving the quality of our phone service. She stated the IT department is taking a conservative approach with the existing phone system and not trying to damage a system that's already in place. And Kim Johnson, Financial Services Manager, mentioned that they are taking calls from clients using cell phones at this point, but it hasn't been a problem. Commissioner Delyden asked about doing home visits, and they have not conducted home visits at this time, but they have been using Skype as a method to check in with the people and see how they're doing. So anyway, we're hopeful about this being a success, but it's been way beyond what they expected as far as being a successful program. So the recommendation is to approve the continuation of the telework program and offer the program to other county departments for future consideration. So this is, and this would, on the consent agenda as far as the teleworks as being a county-wide, something that we can consider for other departments. So, Mr. Chair, with that, I will make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Burrell. Is there any other discussions? I just have one comment that we are rolling it out, but we have decided that the snowplow drivers, it won't fit.
It will not work.
So, just so we know that, that they're not, it won't work for every department.
So Mr. Kelly can't be working from home either?
Well,
Yeah, I'd have to say he probably falls in with the highway department.
we need to see him once in a while, right?
We'd miss a smiling face. All right. No other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Schedule Owners Committee of the Whole meeting, proposed administration building.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a carryover from a previous meeting. We had originally looked at the 18th as a date, which didn't work for many of the board members. Reached out to BKV and staff and kind of polled the commissioners. I think we've landed on a time that works, which would be Monday, the 24th at 8:30 a.m.
Perfect. That would work. That works great.
So I would propose that if that works for the members of the board.
May I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule a committee of the whole for the discussion of proposed administration building for September 24th, which is a Monday at 8:30 a.m.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Everybody's going to be able to make it?
I'm good.
Commissioner Burrell? Mm-hmm. All right.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Authorize attendance at the AMC Annual Conference on December 3rd and 4th in Bloomington. I'm assuming all of us will be going.
Yep.
Although if I am not reelected, I will not be going. Then I'll send the new person down.
In your stead, okay?
There's no reason for both of us to be there. If I'm not going to be continuing, there's no reason to waste taxpayer money.
It's the farewell tour. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to authorize attendance at the AMC Annual Conference, December 3rd and 4th, 2018 in Bloomington.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Let Susan know if you're going for sure so that she can get you registered. Remember, motels are on your own if you want to stay down there. Cancel December 4th meeting, since that's when the AMC Annual Conference is. We normally cancel that meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to cancel the December 4th, 2018 County Board meeting due to the conflict with the AMC annual meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Batch. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board updates. Coordinator Kelly, I think we'll start with you this morning.
I don't know if anyone else would mention it, but last Monday we did have a good meeting with the Public Health Task Force where we saw a presentation about the need for dental services clinic in Wright County. I thought that was very interesting. Definitely a lot more need than providers available, so I think more discussion to come on that. And I'll maybe defer to other commissioners, but did catch the end of a meeting that took place yesterday in Monticello with representatives from Xcel Energy regarding some of their valuation and discussion they had with Department of Revenue on their valuation, so.
And we look forward to hearing more about that.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You were done, weren't you?
Yes.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, Commissioner Potter.
I lost my place now.
That's what I was hoping. Okay, Commissioner Batch. No.
It worked. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week we had the AMC Fall Policy Conference. I did attend the opioid summit just because I was up there already. I figured I might as well attend that. We weren't signed up, but that's fine. They let me in anyway. It was very interesting on what's been going on with all that, and some of the stats that Hennepin County brought up there. I did a snapshot and I sent it off to Sheriff Joe. He got me back that our numbers for the people in jail and the drugs are pretty similar percentage-wise. One of the differences, the amount of ones that they had to use the Narcan on were way lower than Hennepin County is. I mean, I was taken back by that one.
5 back so far.
Yeah.
Here.
But we had, the Hennepin County, the amount of ones, the percentage in there that had to use Narcan on was just through the roof. I mean, they're using it almost every day, the way that was looking at it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was quite intense with that. I mean, and there's more to come in Commissioner Delyden has a couple of the sample packs for some of the pills people want to dispose of properly, which I've asked Sarah, and she did a great job with presentation with public health there. And at the panel, they also did a round robin type speed round on questions and things going on there. And so she's going to get me what it takes to get those. And so I told her I'd buy a bunch of them to distribute to like senior centers and that, because, you know, grandma, grandpa might have pills sitting around and they don't know what to do with them. And just so the grandson or grandchild or something doesn't get a hold of them, a proper way of disposing of them, because not every town has a pill disposal box at their convenience. So this is, to me, it's another way to try to keep those out of the hands of the wrong people and a proper way of disposing of them. The packs it's really interesting, and I implore you to look at what Commissioner Delyden has there with those packs, because it is amazing what they do. And Sarah's going to look into the cost of getting those so we can distribute those out.
And not to interrupt, but I believe we have 8 sites in the county where people can dispose of their used medication that they have left over and that kind of thing too. So the 3 police departments, the sheriff's office, I think the city of Delano, and
I know St. Michael has one.
Okay.
You know, but the thing boils down to is if we can reach those other people that maybe are not close to those
Right.
towns, so maybe some townships in that have a few, so if grandpa and grandma on the farm don't know what to do, they know they can get a hold of that. You know,
Yeah, these are real simple to use. This one will do 45 pills, 6 patches, 6 ounces of liquid.
Yeah.
Throw them in, add warm water, And it works very quickly, within 30 seconds, and
Yeah.
And
sealed the pout.
To me, it's worth, if we can save one life, whatever the cost of those are is worth it. You know, and to make it so, and I talked with the Sheriff Haggerty on that, there were cases where they came into a house with older couple and they had bags of their medication sitting, their old medication they didn't know what to do with.
Yep.
Because not everybody gets the information we get or watches this, but if we can make sure that we can reach out to, like say, save a life on this. And I think it'd be worthwhile. In fact, I will personally invest in these things and spread them out just because I think it's worth that. I mean, one life saved is worth it.
Well, I would think public health would be able to do it through some SHIP funding or something.
Yeah, we do have a SHIP
Dispose of them in
grant.
garbage when they're
Yeah,
done?
you can just dispose of them in the garbage.
Wow.
It's just, it is
I know,
true.
I got one when I left. I just didn't get a chance to read the package on it.
I was so
just
I was so
surprised to me.
interested. I looked it up online, the whole thing. It's like, oh, I'm like, this is
Yeah.
amazing. This is good. Something simple. It's not complicated to use.
It's even got pictures.
It got convenience. Yeah. That's for Commissioner.
Charlie,
Where'd you get them at?
At the-
AMC.
We passed them out at the end of the AMC.
And that's like a
So anyway,
narcan?
that's,
No,
No,
it deactivates your drugs.
so I think it's just it's a kind of
Well, that wouldn't be
unique
any good.
tool to use to help combat, you know, reduce the risk of people getting a hold of what they shouldn't be getting a hold of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Mr. Chair, on transportation policy, we removed the word constitutionally dedicate sales tax from auto parts, because that seemed to rub a few metro counties wrong. So we took the constitutional amendment out of there and made it so it's like basically statutorily direct sales tax from auto parts to go towards transportation. And that's it, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Batch?
All right, attending AMC as well last week. From a general government standpoint, we had kind of probably a combination that Health and Human Services discussed on, but ours is more surrounding on the ICWA side of out-of-home placement and the funding from the federal government and the state government for Native Americans and out-of-home placement costs. Just because Beltrami County, 1 in 10 children in Beltrami County touches the foster care system. Yeah, that's
Wow.
some pretty wowing numbers. But also we discussed that some of our biggest priorities that we kind of agreed on was the data retention and getting some uniformity for that from the state. The other piece that we are is the dark stores and utility property evaluations and getting some legislation on that to be able to have some, I'm going to say continuity with it as to where it's going and being able to predict what those values will be on those properties. Also, I was with Mr. Kelly yesterday, which at the 10:30 meeting we'll have probably more of a discussion on the Excel piece and what was discussed at yesterday afternoon's meeting and what that information, how it'll impact the county going forward. Secondary piece, last week I got Trailblazer got their funding note from MnDOT. Trailblazer requested just about shy of about $5.5 million in funding to operate. MnDOT actually did us a very good favor and funded almost the majority of it to the tune of $5.4 million. We were requesting 5.5, so that's a good note of what we were looking. And also, we requested $295,000 in unmet needs, and we were granted all $295,000 in unmet needs for the system. So it was a very, very good day for Trailblazer and for the transit system for the tri-counties.
Unmet needs, what is that?
It's to fund basically, we had been given 2 buses that we purchased last year. Now they're giving us the additional money to fund them going forward. So those will roll into our general operating money then going forward. But the first year you have to be able to get an unmet need funding first
So,
before it gets rolled into your general operation.
Is that for more buses? Is that for more buses, or is that to cover
That's
the 2 that we got?
to cover the 2 that we got, basically, because they have to operate for a period of time before they get rolled into your general operating. So.
Good.
Yeah.
They gotta get you, they wouldn't cut your spending now, they gotta get you hooked first, then they cut your spending. They cut your
Now
funding.
you know the game, Charlie.
You're learning, slowly but surely.
I think you already knew that.
So, and then that's all I have
don't
at
know
this
why
point.
we
And
fight
Mr.
on the-
Chair?
on the
Yes, sir.
warrant, but-
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a footnote for the public, I want to thank Commissioner Betch for his hard work on this. I mean, he had to take a lot of shots and he weathered the storm, and they kept being persistent on the request. They went with a reasonable request. They sold it well, and MnDOT listened, and congratulations,
Yeah.
Commissioner Vetch, for the hard work you've done to keep the transit
Yep.
viable here and moving forward.
Well, thank you,
It
Mr.
was
Potter. and-
wonderful having a new voice.
Yep.
You know, on that, so.
Yeah, now we
everything-
need is drivers.
Well, Buffalo, we're doing really well. It's down in McLeod County. I don't know. They just have, if you've seen the ad in the paper, I mean, they're looking for, I think, 4 drivers down in McLeod. We only need 1 part-time one here in Buffalo. So I don't know. McLeod County labor market must be tight right now.
Well, unemployment is definitely low.
It is.
All right. I also was up at the AMC Policy Committee, Health and Human Services, and you're absolutely right that the reservations came up as one of our priorities with some of the issues that they're having up there, where some of the counties are having to deal with it, and they would like to actually have the reservations take it over completely. So there's a lot of things in that respect. Mets was also one of the priorities, but it didn't actually make the top 3.
Really?
The Met system?
The Met systems.
That surprises me.
Yeah. Everybody's aware that it's an issue, and they felt
Yeah.
it would be in our policy, but it wouldn't be the top 3.
Wow. It should be, really, one of the top 3.
Well, out-of-home
Because-
placements, I'm sure, made it.
Well, that too, but I mean, they've got to correct the system
Biggest
so we
fire
can,
right now.
It is.
we need to increase the efficiency of that system and not have our workers spending 20 minutes making one simple change that should take 30 seconds. That's just those resources are, it's
It's kind of
awful
funny. I
waste
went
of
to
resources.
one of the classes was dealing with millennials,
Millennials.
and Zs, which is the ones that just graduated from college. We call
Zs?
them the Zs.
Is that what?
These.
Yeah, I remember what
Does that mean we're done?
So you're saying my kids are Generation Z?
Your kids are Generation Zs.
Okay.
Okay.
And they were talking about the millennials have no loyalty, but the Zs actually do. They like stability. Is that true with your kid? Anyway, it was just interesting that we're talking about that in conjunction with the SMET systems and all the state legacy systems where they're all DOS-based, and all these guys are all dealing with all this new stuff, and you come in and they say, forget all that. We're going to show you how to do something really old.
I know.
So it's kind of interesting to get that, and, and it takes the state so long to build these systems.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's go look at a state that's doing it right and get her copy it.
Yeah. On Monday last week, I was on a Parks tour with the Parks Committee. We toured a couple of different parks, Clearwater Pleasant, and looked at some of the reconstructions they've done there. A little park that we went to, Mud Lake County Park. Never been there before. And that is a nice little park. Quiet, peaceful, unbelievable. They just put a new bridge in over a creek there. And we talked about the lake is small, pretty green. And there's really only one inlet into that lake, and it all comes from farms. So we're going to talk with Soil and Water about maybe putting in a lime filter in there to try and reduce the phosphorus level going into that lake.
Why not?
It's a perfect lake to do that with, so we're going to find out what the numbers are. And there'll be more to come on that. On Tuesday afternoon, we had a mental health task force meeting, and same old things come up, problems with finding homes, places to put people, just such a shortage of beds. And then also, the amount of suicides, that sort of stuff, is some of the things they're doing.
Did AMC put as one of their platforms for HHS as multi-tier mental health facilities as one of their priorities, or did that not come out of the HHS?
Yep, that was still in there.
It was still okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's, it's an issue. And they talked a little bit about, we had one of the people from Minnesota Department of Health there, and they did talk about the coming of requests for proposals regarding those mental health, because there's some the bonding that was approved is coming out there. So sometime this month, that'll be out there for proposals, and if we want, we could do it. We got an old jail that we could use.
I think Stearns County and Central Minnesota Mental Health are going to take care of that for us.
Yeah, they're one of them that's going to do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it only sounds like there, at the most, will probably be about five that'll make it, because the money was only like 30 million, I think it was, so it's not.
That trickles out. I mean, $6 million doesn't get you much of a facility.
No, but they could be used for planning, construction, reconstruction of existing buildings, you know, a number of different things. So they're hoping that some reconstruction will be occurring. So more to come on that sort of stuff. And then I did go to the public safety meeting out there.
Thank you.
For a short period of time, and I have Commissioner Hewsom's information on that.
Good.
I think that's enough.
All right. Well, I didn't go to the conference because I had so many of my quarterly meetings scheduled, so I was at the MEDA meeting on Wednesday, and the Health and Human Services have really been helping with the MEDA program. One of the things they were able to obtain is a SHIP grant from the state health improvement, and so that's going to help with going forward with our opioid crisis. They're also getting in touch with what's happening in our county with prescribing pharmacies, and we also talked about a national document that's an assessment tool for public health to go into the schools and interview kids, really at-risk kids, and they can do that. Kids can talk to professionals without permission from their parents. So that's a lot of times they're more willing to speak if they don't have their parents there, and
Really?
we also
Well, my job was always to embarrass my kids.
well.
Kind of hard to do it if I'm not there.
And maybe that's why. And we just had one request for a grant, and that was for Safe Communities of Wright County for $500, so that will be put to good use. And I went to the Public Works Labor Management meeting on Thursday, and there is a record number of projects, as we all know. They've completed their overlays, mostly in the western part of the county, in the Highway Department, working on signing. They mentioned that MnDOT does traffic counts every 4 years on all the roads, but the request is now to do them every 2 years because, I mean, as our county's growing, the traffic counts can change drastically in 2 years, much less 4. And Parks mentioned they've got, Collingwood has 15 new sites. Otsego has a new restroom. Nye Park had 750 kids at their programs. The Emerald Ash Borer, we got the notice about that. So that's really requires, if you have to get rid of ash trees that are affected, it's quite the process. You can't just cut them up and haul them off and burn them. So there's process, and I don't have that with me, but they kind of talked about that a little bit.
I believe there's the public hearing that will be set
Okay.
for dealing with that.
it.
I don't know if the date's been set yet, I don't recall, but there will be a public hearing regarding that.
And they mentioned that the highway is getting $4 million in federal funding in 2019, which is great. Safe Communities of Wright County met on Friday, and they have this, Melissa Pribble from Alina, they've gotten this grant to buy this virtual driver interactive, and she said, I mean, the kids really, this is actually CentraCare Health Foundation, supported by, not Alina, CentraCare. And so they got Virgil, in the driver's seat to do this virtual interactive driving, and, there's lots of things coming at you, and, I mean, so you're trying to pull out, and, all of a sudden this pedestrian is there, but this is available to the community for education, so, she said, Melissa said the kids are so good at this, I think they're just used to doing things on computer, and so they're...
They can do it in the computer, get them on the real world, a
But
different story.
You got to get them on the real road, yep. And also, there's the statewide seatbelt and child restraint campaign, September 17th through the 29th, so they will be out in, more looking for people who are non-compliant.
That's a fundraiser for your group, right?
Yeah. Or not. But actually, yes, that is one of the sources, our chief funding source essentially for Central Minnesota EMS, Emergency Medical Services, and the dollars, that's why we're looking for more stable funding, because...
And that was one of your, public safety, that was one of their top
one of the
three.
topics.
Top three.
Right, because, we need a stable funding source. With seatbelt compliance, it's wonderful. It's like 92% in Minnesota, so it's been growing, and we want that. So we know,
I've
we
been
don't...
trying to help, though. A lot of times I don't put my seatbelt on until I'm like a mile down the road
okay.
to try to help the funding, but
Yeah, but they got
far,
you anyway, huh?
That would have a chief deputy here that we could.
And then, Mr. Chair, also there was a report in NPR that Greater Minnesota has a higher rate of noncompliance with the seatbelt law than Metro does.
Yep.
we help fund the
We help
EMS,
fund it.
not
Yep.
go north.
Yep.
All right.
And I was at the Workforce Center, Joint Powers Board on Friday also, and we, basically, the workforce, when there's more people working, of course, the funding goes down from the feds, so we got a nice workflow chart, and we lost 1.7 million in grant dollars the year before, so they're just, they need to lay off people. They're just really good at kind of doing what they need to do to keep them budget neutral. But for some reason, in all this paperwork, I don't know where my notes are. So I could say a lot, but
All
if you have
right,
any questions, you can ask.
Busy.
is that it? All right, so nothing
Charlie?
else?
Oh,
Charlie?
I didn't tell you yet. No, up at the AMC, probably, for me, it was the most productive, most interesting policy committee that I've ever been to. We had...
And you're on the Department of Natural Resources,
Yeah, for the
right?
Natural Resource and Environment. But I want to thank Randy Kramer from Renville County. He's our board chair for the policy committee. And he brought in John Kolb from Rinky Noonan, and he had DNR people in, and we talked over like the House File 2687 or Senate File 2419 that talks about kind of keeping the DNR out of our county ditches. And really a good discussion. I mean, it went... I don't know if we made ground, but very informative. I mean, we got to hear the DNR side, and we also got to hear John, John is a good lawyer. I mean, he's able to get his word in without insulting him, but I don't, he did a really great job, but that was super valuable, I think. A lot of this, though, what I found out, it's not getting pushed forward yet because the drainage work group has not supported it. And it may come to a thing, though, where maybe we have to bypass the drainage work group at some point and get some things accomplished, so. That was one thing. Another one, we had some people from the Minnesota Department of Ag out, and they made their presentation. We ended up talking a little bit about feedlot, and I brought up the definition of the feedlot, and I said it needs to get work done, and because in part it says something about where no vegetative cover can be maintained, and I said, I think of a feedlot as there's no vegetative cover out there. It's all mud or whatever, it's that many cattle. But I said, our county and some people in the Minnesota Department of Ag interpret as no vegetative cover can be maintained in that little spot by the door where the cattle come in and out. And I made the point that I said our county actually enforced this on a person up by the Clearwater area that had 6 chickens in a doghouse and called that a feedlot. And it was, our people are really sharp here because they looked at it and said, that doesn't look like it's quite 100 feet. And nope, it was only 90 feet from the property line. So they were able to cite them and make them move the doghouse over 10 feet, amongst other things too. So, and that got a laugh up there too. I mean, that's how, because Sean tells me 1 chicken in a doghouse is a feedlot. So, anyway, so when I was mentioning this, though, the person from Minnesota Department of Ag was writing down some notes, so I hope it takes some traction, so, because that needs to get worked at. The other one that was really, I thought, interesting, we had a gal, and I can't remember what exactly department, it was something like economic development that was there, and talking about a little bit how planning and zoning, and Derek, this is something you and I have talked about, how planning and zoning has a problem sometimes stifling business growth. And they talked a little bit about you don't want to have this battle between the cities and the township, not allowing a business to start in the township because, you look at a lot of huge business. Apple Computers started in the guy's garage, probably totally illegal, but you can't, you can have 1 employee out in the township for a business, and that may not be enough for some business to reach that I call critical mass where they can move to the industrial park and make their business go. So I think I actually got her card and might have her come out sometime to the board and do a presentation and see what things that we're doing that might be stifling growth a little bit. So it was really good. I think that we have some bright things looking in the future maybe if we look into some of those things. So thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I had.
Oh, and Charlie, Mr. Chair, I gotta let you know that Matt wants you to be back on good general government before 2020.
I like Matt.
Yeah.
Matt's a good guy.
Yeah, and Matt was definitely, is Charlie coming? Is Charlie coming? So he was going through withdrawals. Charlie withdrawals. Mr. Chair, one more item.
Yes.
Tonight is an open house. The Highway Department's going for County Road 37, from County Road 19 west to County Road 18, which will be reconstructed next year. For anybody around that area that's interested in seeing what the process and what's going on there.
That's what, from 4 to
6?
4 to 6? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So Commissioner Potter, are they gonna have to use a lot of fill to do that? Because I mean, there's some high banks on that road there, on that to reconstruct that 37 in.
37 just to 18.
To 18.
That was it.
Yeah, but that first leg
Smaller,
there.
yeah. There's some ditches in
There's some
there.
pretty high
lower-
bank, yeah.
There's some lower areas. My guess is they'll probably end up rebuilding that road and it may get a little bit lowered or something too.
Maybe that's what they'll do.
And they'll put in some
Couple
ponds.
culverts that are failing that they're dealing with.
No, it'll be nice to have shoulders on that. Can't wait for them to do 37 on the other side of the freeway. There's a part there where it really, there's a short section there just before when you get to end Otsego there by just past the cemetery, by your property.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There really should be shoulders there.
About 4 inches before you fall off in the ditch.
Yeah, yeah, there really should be shoulders, at least just for that short spot there, because the traffic is really a lot coming out of that development over there. All right, does the press have anything they want to add? Okay. And if that's the case, we are adjourned at 10:06, committee of the whole at 10:30.